Okay, there we go. Looks like my audio, I'm glad I did the audio setup. Looks like the audio is coming through now, but I do not hear myself on the live. So I'm just going to wait for those audio checks to come in. This is why we do audio checks. We got to make sure everything is working and good to go. So I'm not just talking to myself and you guys see me ramble on about whatever without any meaningful content. So, anyways, it looks like the live stream is catching up. I think it's usually about 30 seconds or a minute before it catches up to the main thing. But let me see if I have other things I can add here. No, nothing else. Let me add some topics in here. So topics today is going to be week three of CNA training and 11. Audio checks is good. So now we can finally get started. All right. So if you guys are unaware or didn't tune into the first one, I am currently undergoing CNA training, and these are my vlogs that I'm going to try to do weekly to kind of give a recap of what I'm learning, what the experience is like, as I continue on through the didactics, the hands-on training, and the certification. And then at the very end, there's going to be a clinical experience of 40 hours. This is primarily targeted at individuals who are interested in becoming CNAs and just getting an idea of what it's like. Today, I want to talk about week 3 of CNA training and then also talk about something I'm pretty excited about because it's new stuff. Uh, is a package for the Apple Watch. So I'm excited for that. So that'll be at the very end, and I'm just going to talk about week 3. So just to get people oriented, though, what I'm going to actually do is share my screen so I don't ramble. And this is what I'm going to talk about. So we just did an overall intro. We'll talk about what we learned in week 3 of CNA training. And then I'm really excited about to unbox the Apple Watch 11. We need a watch when we're CNAs because it helps us capture our vitals accurately, our respiration rates, and our blood pressure and our heart rates. So that's really good. All right, so let me start with week 3 here. So week 3, if you were, I don't remember if I mentioned it the first time. Every week we have classes on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. They are 4 hours long from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And so there's 3 days I'm going to quickly share. I'm not going to go into details about them, but just to give you an idea of what it's like. Currently, the schedules are kind of all over the place because we did some things out of order. So every single day, we actually don't know what to expect unless the teacher tells us ahead of time. But for day one, it was primarily catch up day. We didn't really do anything new because it's a lot of content that must be covered. And all we were doing was catching up. And I am actually taking 2 courses right now. I don't remember if I mentioned that the first time. I'm taking this CNA course, which is 8 weeks long, a lot of in person, and I'm taking a secondary online course for patient care technician or a PCT. And part of that is one of the CNAs gave me a recommendation to pursue that when you are going to the hospital, because in the hospital, they are usually patient care technicians that have a CNA license or CNA certification. And so I'm doing that. And because I haven't mentioned this online, but I've actually finished all the quizzes in the final exam for the CNA course, all up until next month when the course ends. I just went ahead and just did them all so I can just focus on the hands on skills, which is what I really came to learn about. Now, the online course, let me actually just pull that up to show. Let me show this tab. This is my patient care technician course. I did most of it already. I'm just on the very end, and it's great because it reinforces what I'm learning in the CNA courses. It's all of the CNA stuff plus additional things like phlebotomy and then EKG readings and then just a couple of nitty gritty things. But a lot of it is overlapping. So it actually helps reinforce a lot of stuff. This is fully online, so I don't actually get any hands on skills. They just have YouTube videos. But on day one, I basically just did these chapters because I was already done with all the quizzes and our professor was letting us catch up to those. So that's what I did on day one. Something super exciting that maybe some of my audience is more interested in, because I think more of my audience is in the technical world, is the creation of a web app. So the CNA exam has two components. One is like a typical examination, that's computer based, multiple choice. You sit on a computer. I don't remember how long you have, but you go through questions. And one of the best ways to practice for that is like flashcards and practice exams. So me having a more of a technical background, I went ahead and just created a web app that sat on top of a list of questions and answers our professor gave us. And maybe I shouldn't take all full credit for it. I just took the whole list of questions and answers the professor gave us, dumped it into ChatGPT, and boom, I kind of styled it and I just created this web app in about 10 minutes. It was super awesome. So I can have it randomly generate me, let's say, 5 questions or a custom one, or I can take the full length test, start quiz, and then you got a little timer on the right. I can check answers. I can jump to different questions, check answers. And it's a great way for me to practice for that written exam. The other part of the CNA exam is the hands-on skills. They actually have you perform these skills and procedures on another person or a mannequin, and they will grade you on whether or not you pass. That's why my focus really is on that hands-on skills. But this was pretty fun. I shared it with the class. It's a publicly deployed web app, so the other students can use it to study as well. So that was day one. Nothing too interesting. I think the other 2 days are going to be much more interesting here. On day two, which was yesterday, we learned 2 different skills. One was dressing a patient with a weak arm. So just teaching us like how to, when we say dressing, how to put on clothes for a patient. And this for me was actually very practical because I do go and see my grandma pretty often. I help pick out her clothes. I help her put on clothes, usually like a jacket when she gets cold. There is someone else that bathes her, so I don't have to like fully dress her. I just usually help her with her jacket. And what I realized from this class is there's a lot there are techniques that make it a lot easier to put a jacket on someone, like putting your hands through the armholes and then like holding their hand and moving it across, and then how to put it on in a very safe and effective manner. So that was really useful. And then this one specifically was for patients with a weak arm. So whenever you have a weak arm, I forgot the acronym they told us, but you basically always put on clothes on the weak arm first, then on the strong arm you put that on last. And that made a lot more sense because once you put it on, it's a lot harder to finagle the shirt or jacket you're putting on at the very end. So it's always good there. But it is the complete opposite when you take off the clothes. You take off from the strong arm first, and then you do it on the weak arm. But that was that skill. It wasn't too bad. The one that was a little bit more scary was this skill. This skill was much more technical. So you have a patient who's lying on the bed, you get them up, and I actually love the techniques here because I actually was practicing on my grandma. She getting up and then turning them in the bed, there's like certain places you hold them, ways you can do it to be more effective, but you put your hand about around the back, put your hands above their thigh, and then you just kind of move and shift, and you can just get them up into bed. The hard part about this skill, and what scares me actually, is the next part, which is transferring the patient from the bed to the wheelchair. And it was like a pivot motion. You put your knee in between theirs. You have like a gait belt on them, and you reach your arms over, and the gait belt's on their waist, and you hold them, and you kind of just like lift, pivot, and put down. And that was really scary because if you miss, you're just going to drop someone on the floor. And in class, someone actually did drop someone on the floor, not because they missed putting them on the wheelchair, but because they forgot one of the key steps in this skill, which is to put on the brakes of the wheelchair. Some of these sound like very common sense things, but if you don't do it, or like you don't remember, it's very easy to forget because there's just so many steps to check. But someone made that mistake, forgot to put the brakes in the wheelchair, and that poor girl just like fell and slipped and like hit herself. That was very unfortunate, but she was okay, so that was good. Anyways, that was that skill. I practiced that a few times. It was very useful to learn how to properly maneuver patients, again, in a very safe way. And a lot of the techniques they teach us can apply to patients who are a lot larger too. And so you don't want to make sure you don't hurt yourself and you don't want to hurt others. Okay. And then the last one is the one that I was very curious about because I think I'm partly dreading it, but I think there's a lot of useful skills to be gained here, which is the partial bed bath. So the bed bath, I didn't really even know those kind of things existed until I started seeing my grandma this year. That there's a thing called a bed bath, which is you're lying in the bed and then someone gives you a bath. So they taught us that today. And apparently, the bed bath of all the skills that you are tested on is the hardest skill for CNAs. And it was pretty lengthy. They say on average, people take 17 full minutes to complete the skill. All these other ones are just like a few minutes, maybe like 5 minutes or less. But this skill was a lot of steps, a lot of things we had to remember. And then we practiced it. And each of us took probably like 30 to 40 minutes each to go through all of the steps to get it right. But we got a chance to, I got a chance today to do it myself, and then help two other classmates of mine just kind of talk through what steps they need to do and things like that. So it was really good because I got to do one, I got to see one, I got to teach one. So that was very useful. Nothing too unique about this one. Partial bed bath is just like teaching you like how do you clean a patient, and it's like wiping the eyes, wiping the face all the way down to the neck, wiping the back of the ears. Like these are all very specific steps because, like, for example, the eyes, after you wipe the eyes, is considered infectious. You got to put away the rag, got to switch your gloves. Then you do the face all the way down to the ears. The ears is considered infectious. So you got to put away the gloves and then change the towels. And then you do the chest, and then you do the abdomen, and then you dry them off, and then you also then move on to the arms, and then the whole arm you kind of wash all the way up to the armpit, and the armpit's considered very dirty. And then you will then also change your gloves and then use a new wash towel, and then you do their back. And then the back, they teach us to lotion the patient with specific like circular motions, and you come down along their spine. You do that kind of 3 times, and that pretty much is like the partial bed bath with all these other steps of like filling up the water. How do you hold the wash towels? How do you properly keep the patient covered while taking off their gown or drying them off? There's a lot of different steps in between, but it was a pretty intense skill. We had a very small group of classmates today for some reason. A lot of students didn't show up, which kind of odd in the sense that this was the hardest skill, and then not a lot of people were here. Anyways, so that is week 3 is over. We start back next week on this, and I think it hopefully should be easier from here on out because that was a pretty intense skill. Okay, so if you guys are here watching the CNA stuff, that is it for the CNA stuff. I'm going to move on to something I'm super excited about, which is the Apple Watch 11. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the package, and then I'm going to start unpacking. Let me go ahead and actually stop sharing real quick. Oops, stop sharing. And then what I'm going to do is add a unboxing Apple Watch 11. I think I watched one video about this because I need to transfer the data from this watch to the new one, and it looked very easy. So hopefully it is. I'm going to open this package and show you guys in just a second. All right, so we have the new Apple Watch 11. Excited for that. And so let's see. I really like the packaging of Apple. Sometimes I think it's like very excessive because it's just like a lot of waste for the environment. But again, it's nice packaging. Okay, so we gotta open it like this. Oh, look at this. So in it, got a lot of logos. You got 2 parts. You got a wristband. I really do not like the, why is my thing out of focus? There it is. I really do not like this speckled kind of pattern. And you got this really interesting thing here. It's almost like some holographic. I really don't like this pattern on the band, but it is one of the Nike sports bands, and all of them are this kind of speckled pattern. I like to run, I like to go work out, so I like the sports bands because it's much more breathable. So I'm gonna open that later. What I'm gonna do is actually open this watch first. So let's see, Series 11. I got the space gray aluminum case. I haven't been using Apple Watches since they came out. I started with, this is the 6. I think I got it in 2021 or so when I was like trying to just be more proactive and go run. So I mainly got the watch purely for running. And so it has like the Nike app installed and everything. Okay, look at that case. Cute little watch here. It's got some case. I don't know if this is a case or just like some nice packaging. So I got the 42. Let me cover my face so it can zoom in. There it is, 42. It's nice in size. I think it's slightly bigger than my. Oh, it might be the same size. It's a very similar size. Just very slightly bigger. It might be the same size. I don't actually know. I don't remember what the size of the Apple 6 was. So how do you open this? Maybe just slide it out. Oh, I think you can just slide it out. Very hard to maneuver. Okay, I got it out. There it is. Very cute. It does come with this, looks like a charger for the watch. Yeah, it's the nice braided cable that comes with the watch. Okay, looks like this is all set up. So it says Apple Watch. Let me turn on my phone. Oh, so we just have our setup. Got an English, asking for the English, United States. Open the watch app on the iPhone. So I got my iPhone over here. I'm going to pair it. To set up out, you need to update. Oh, great. I don't know how long this is going to take. I got to update to the latest version on Apple. Update now. Hopefully that doesn't take too long to do a full upgrade. I feel like some of these updates on iPhone can take a little bit of time. Let's see, it says update requested. Okay. Anyways, I guess we're just gonna hang out and wait 6 minutes, 4 minutes. Okay, so maybe I'll switch topics and talk about something else while we are waiting for my iPhone to upgrade. I think it's gonna be not too long. It should be maybe like another 2 minutes or so. But we'll switch topics for just a minute. Let's just catch anything. If there's anything coming up. Nope, nothing coming up. Just checking if there's any comments or questions. You guys are all so quiet. All right, so why don't I switch topics real quick and I'll pitch some other things in the meantime. I think what's some interesting things going on? Um Personally, in my life right now, today's Thursday, I'm going to be flying back to Maryland tomorrow on Friday and then road tripping down with my girlfriend over the next few days as she is actually making the move down to Florida to be with me as my grandma's in Florida. So it's really nice of her to basically leave her community and a lot of the stuff that she's built up in the DMV area and come down to be with me. On that note, I am also very excited to have her next to me and then spend the next, however much time we're going to be here in Florida. We probably do want to eventually move back to the DMV. It's just way too humid down here. Update the phone. Okay. Nice. So we've got 26 seconds remaining. But if you guys got any recs, we're going to be going through Nashville and I think Birmingham, Alabama before we come back down to Tampa area. If you guys have any recs, definitely leave it in the comments below. Let us know places we haven't been to. I've been to Nashville, like a very short trip, but I haven't really explored too much. But any food recs, places to visit. We're only going to be in those places for like a day. It's a pretty short trip. We're just pretty much like trekking all the way down to Tampa because I have class the very next day. And of course, grandma is down here. Okay, so I was going to talk about other things, but I think this might take a second for an update. Maybe I'll just continue talking about other things. The other things that are going on, one big one, a selfish plug, which is Unscripted RX. It's like one of the little projects that I'm like really enjoying working on. Unscripted RX, unscriptedrx.com. Let me put this up here. So I've been working on this whenever I have a free moment and building this out. If you haven't already, do check it out. Especially for students, it's residency recruiting time. And it's a free app that you can use to find your next residency of where you want to spend the next 1 to 2 years. And let me show you. Unscripted RX. Oops. Let me share this tab. Okay, here we go. This is Unscripted RX. And so if you go check it out, you can type it in here, or you can just type in unscriptedrx.com. And this is the residency. Super excited for it. The directory itself has been live for some time already. I am slowly adding in a lot of information about it just to make it more data rich, like rotations, updating all of the different profiles. Like, for example, if we go in here, you can see different things like their education, experience, certain contact information. And then one of the things I'm really excited about is like the current and past residents. So eventually, this will grow into a huge list and catalog of past residents, which we can then use to answer all these sorts of interesting questions of like, where did they go to their first job? What types of programs led to first jobs at these organizations, these types of specialties, or these types of geographical areas? It's like I'm very fascinated thinking about the types of questions we can answer with this data. But the directory has been live for some time. Like I said, the most recent thing is like the events. So like the events is really cool because now programs can begin advertising their events. And this actually was live. I just completely revamped it. And I've added a new feature that allows LinkedIn integration. So when you create an event, it can actually, so I'm actually logged in as a event creator. You can go to events, and you can just create an event just like this, and then you can link it directly to LinkedIn, and it's super fascinating. So that's Unscripted RX. Maybe I'll show another thing. It's like show and tell day. I didn't intend for the live stream to go this long, so fun stuff. Oh, I am getting a call from someone, which I'm just gonna ignore. Something else I'll talk about since we're on this, it does look like it's going to take a little bit more time to do my software updates. Let me just double check on it real quick. Yeah, I think it's preparing the update now. So the other thing, let me stop sharing this, is refine. Let me see where this one was. Log into Excel, refine. Here it is. This is another side project that I'm working on, very related to Unscripted RX, and then just like a very fun project for me to use my mind. Like I really, for whatever odd reason, enjoy nerding out over these kind of things, but just thinking about standardizing data and then using aggregate standardized data to answer many types of questions. And in this case, I'm working on this side project, which is the residency, fellowship, internship, normalized experiences ontology, or refine, just for short. And the whole goal of this is because as I was starting to compile the rotation data for all of these programs, I realized that they weren't really standard. You had things like internal medicine 1 and 2, internal medicine that was capitalized or not capitalized. You had critical care, or you might have medical ICU or medical critical care, or all these like very unstandardized things. And it's very hard to make assumptions or observations about what's the impact of different rotations on a resident's journey. So one of the things here is to basically take all the program, all of the rotation data across all these programs, standardize it, and then you can do many cool things with it. One is like people can start searching the directory for programs that have their rotation of interests. It's like, I want to go to a program that has a informatics rotation. Well, cool. Now we can do that when we have things like this. The other thing is like, of all the programs that have informatics rotations, what percentage of them led to in, informatics pharmacists or residents that went on to become informatics pharmacists? How many of them led to outcomes where the resident went to work at a tech company, for example? Like all these interesting questions can be done when you have this. Anyways, that's the refined ontology. So every rotation that I add to Unscripted RX, I will also take this and map it to this standard. But this is really cool. So I'm hoping residency program directors can come in here and just be like, okay, I'm creating a critical care rotation, or I'm trying to standardize my list of rotations to refine. I can be like, let's say you're doing like medical ICU. You can see what the terms are. So you click on it, you see what this is, you have a little description of it. Here's other names you have for it. Here are some other related concepts. I can just like tab to it. And you can see kind of this hierarchy, which I really like. And what I plan to do is have like something that says like, here's the preferred name, here's the full name, and then hopefully everyone will begin using a standardized name. Okay, checking on the phone. This is taking a lot longer, so I don't want to conflate. That's probably the wrong word to use. I don't want to mix too much of this live stream with all this other work I'm doing, because I think the people who are probably most interested in this content are probably people who are purely interested in learning about the CNA experience. So I'm probably not going to wait for the update. It looks like it's taking a good amount of time, and I'm probably going to end the live stream in a few minutes. So that's it here. I'm really excited for this. I hope you guys share this if you are in the pharmacy world, because I am super excited to continue building this out. And I'm starting to work on the infectious. Oh, yeah, that's right. The infectious disease domain. So you have things like antimicrobial stewardship. And I'm just super excited for this. Anyways, I am going to end the stream here because the Apple Watch update is taking a long time. I am excited to continue my CNA journey. There's a lot to learn, and then I think there's a lot to practice. But anyways, guys, if you tuned in, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, definitely let me know. If there's other things that you're interested in learning about, especially those who are pursuing CNA training, leave them in the comments below, and then I'll try to also answer them or comment on them as I go through this training. But 5 more weeks, and then like I think it should be probably a total of like 1 to 2 weeks for the clinical experience, sometime in November. All right, guys, thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you have a wonderful Thursday, and I will see you next week. Bye.